Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. We are IPB University undergraduate students majoring in Food Science and Technology. Today, we are from Group 2 of Food Processing Technology class. We'll be discussing about our topic that is problems in Nata de Coco processing. Before we start, let me introduce you to my group members. There is Annisa Rizqy Fatira, Aisyah Puteri Suherman, Rana Naurah Athiyyah, me, and last but not least, Muhammad Aureli Azhim. Okay, so let's get started on the next session. Now we are going to talk about what is Nata de Coco.
Nata de Coco is a chewy, translucent jelly produced by the fermentation of coconut water. Nata de Coco is an organic high dietary fiber food product that high in cellulose, low in fat and calories, and contains no cholesterol. Extracellular cellulose produced from the activity of the bacterium Acetobacter psyllium in the fermentation process. The Nata de Coco use the coconut water for the fermentation media. And there are several important factors in nata production like the starter quality, fermentation time, water content, temperature, and pH. So the next one is the objective of this learning is to analyze problems that can occur in the production of nata de coco, describe the cause of problems and the solution to them, and also provide information on a good production flow process for nata de coco product.
Moving on, we will be talking about problems that might occur in the production of Nata de Coco. The first one is thin cellulose layer of the nata. Second is hard texture. Third, sour taste and smell. And the last one is mold contamination. So, there are several possible causes for the problems to occur. The first one is starter quality, because the number of bacteria that has grown in the starter will be affected by the amount of time it has been stored. According to Hamed et al. In 2016 research, Nata de Coco added with a starter with a storage time of 7 until 13 days had the greatest thickness. Meanwhile, if the starter added is before 7 days of storage time or after 13 days of storage time, it will result in a thinner nata layer. So, it can be concluded that the number of bacteria affects the quality of the starter, which influence the thickness of the nata. The third one is inadequate product storage that can have an impact on the thickness of the nata layer. Shocks can cause the structure of the nata layer to break, resulting in a thin and separated nata layer. The fourth is low coconut water quality. If the coconut water is too old, it will contain oil, while coconut that is too young, it doesn't contain minerals. And too long exposure to open air also causes contamination with other bacteria. Next is incorrect temperature, because temperatures that are too high or too low will result in poor quality nata or the inhibition of Acetobacter psyllium activity. Incorrect temperature results in poor cellulose growth, because if the fermentation incubation period is too short, the nata layer will be thin, while if it's too long, the nata will have a hard texture. The sixth is incorrect pH, because low pH will cause yeast growth while high pH will disrupt bacterial growth and produce a thin nata. Next, excess of nitrogen addition, because the addition of nitrogen favors the biomass production, but it diminishes cellulose production. The last one is incorrect boiling process, because boiling process in nata production is able to remove the acid taste and smell of the nata. But if the boiling process didn't run correctly, it can leave the sour taste and smell in the nata.
Next is for the solutions towards the causes of the problems faced in nata de coco production. First of all is for the starter quality and concentration. For optimum Nata de Coco fermentation, it is recommended to use a starter with a storage age of 7 to 13 days, and to use it in about 10 to 20% of the media volume. Second is regarding fermentation time. An optimum incubation or fermentation time of 7 to 14 days is recommended for optimum Nata de Coco results. Third is that we must have an adequate product storage system. For this, it is recommended to store product away from a busy area. Fourth, for the coconut water quality, it is recommended to use coconut water from a coconut that is not too old and not too young. It is also important to not expose the coconut water in open air for too long. And then fifth is for the fermentation temperature. A temperature of 28 to 31 degrees Celsius is recommended for optimum fermentation results. 6 is regarding the pH. For an optimum result, it is recommended that the pH for Nata de Coco fermentation is set to above 4. 7 is for the addition of nitrogen. An excess amount of nitrogen addition should be avoided to prevent unwanted results. Therefore, the addition of a nitrogen source must be at an optimum. An example is by adding ammonium sulfate for around 0.5 to 0.7%. Lastly, a correct boiling process must be done to ensure good Nata de Coco results. This can be done by boiling nata for 5 to 10 minutes to soften the texture and remove excess sour taste and smell.
So next we move on to the processing of Nata de Coco. Making Nata de Coco begins with the selection of raw materials, namely coconut water, which is then filtered to separate the coconut water from impurities. The process is then continued with boiling and the addition of other supporting materials such as sugar, ammonium sulfate, and acetic acid. After the addition of the supporting material, it is followed by the cooling of substrate so that bacteria can grow optimally. Starter is then added and Nata de Coco finally undergo a fermentation process. The purification process in the manufacture of Nata de Coco is carried out after the fermentation period is complete and a layer of Nata de Coco is formed and ready for harvest. Nata de Coco is drained and then transferred to a sterile container for repeated washing. The washing process is carried out to remove harmful substances and contaminants that may be contained in Nata de Coco. After washing, Nata de Coco is soaked overnight with water and then washed again the next day. Nata de Coco, which has been through the washing process, is boiled again, then the remaining boiled water is discarded. The boiling process is carried out twice to remove the sour smell from Nata de Coco. After that, the Nata de Coco is cut and ready to be immersed in citric acid, sugar water, or syrup as additional flavors and natural preservatives. Finally, we have reached the conclusion. So in summary, nata is an organic food product with a high fiber content. Acetobacter is the microorganism responsible for the fermentation of Nata de Coco. It aids in the production of cellulose and is used in the production of nata because it can convert sugar to cellulose during the fermentation process. There are several problems that can occur in the processing of nata. Therefore, several factors should also be considered to avoid product quality degradation and defects. We hope this video can be useful and widen your knowledge about Nata de Coco and its processing problems. Have a nice day everyone. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.